Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Just getting started here. Bring that down a little. I've got a guest with me today. I'll bring him on in a couple minutes. But just checking in, I'm gonna blast some stuff out to people so that they know that I'm here. Let me know in chat how you're doing today. We got some people. Victor, let's see how long you're here, man. I appreciate you being here at all. Glad to see you. So today we're going to do terminal stuff. I know, hey Mark, what's going on? Last time, a couple weeks ago now, we did a lot of terminal color stuff. So we're going to do more of that today. And my guest is going to help me. So why don't I just bring you in? So Steve, unmute yourself and I'll bring you in here. Hello, hello.
Go.
What's going on?
How's it going? Oh, pretty
So
good,
this is
man.
Steve,
How about
everybody?
yourself?
Yeah, I'm
What's up?
good. So
Awesome.
we're just chilling tonight. And for those that don't know Steve, why don't you tell them about yourself, what you do, maybe day job, maybe side projects. Just let us know like what you've been up to, what you're doing.
Yeah. So my name's Steve. I'm the head of developer relations for a company called Pinata. We do stuff with IPFS. It's kind of nerdy Web3-ish, decentralized stuff. But it's kind of like, you can think of it like decentralized cloud storage. Day to day, I do a lot of developer stuff, I guess you could say. So I'll build example applications, write documentation, support other developers, just a little bit of everything. As far as side projects, I have one that's pretty big that's kind of work related, which I can't really talk about just yet. It's kind of part of a hackathon and stuff, but really excited about that.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
That's exciting. Yeah. So some of the people here are already part of the Discord channel, and so, or not channel, but server. So I run a Discord server now, and we've been having a good time talking about Neovim and tmux and WESTerm and terminal emulators and just lots of nerdy stuff that I do on this channel. And so something we've been talking about and experimenting with. I've been experimenting with it on and off for over a year and a half, 2 years probably, but never got super serious about it. And that's the idea of how do I create a color scheme for my terminal, but that bleeds into all of my tooling. So my editor and fuzzy finder and there's all these different tools out here that do it. And so the idea being, are there some solid projects that are already working and doing its job well enough that you can sort of sync your colors and change your colors, and adapt your colors to your kind of workflow. And so I wanted to pick Steve's brain about this a little bit and see how far he's come along. And then, we usually stream for a few hours. So Steve, I know you may not stay with us the whole time. So that's the plan. But on a side note, I wanted to let you know, I haven't talked to you about this, but I have used Pinata before.
No way.
I did a blockchain project. I can't talk about it too much in depth, but I did do a blockchain project, and we were exploring IPFS solutions, and I had come across Pinata. It's probably a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now that we explored that. And I was like, okay, this is great. There's this API that I can use IPFS, and
upload
interact
stuff
with the things I need to interact with. But I will say, just to nerd out for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, at the time I was doing blockchain stuff, it was super expensive on the ethereal blockchain.
Yeah.
And I was realizing oh man, most of the data on the blockchain isn't actually stored on the blockchain. It's stored on JSON objects in IPFS or something. And I was like, but then what's the point of blockchain? So I can put blockchain developer on my resume, but I never really got it. I was like, I don't get this blockchain stuff yet. I don't get how it's fully secure and scalable and and the true transactional stuff felt sort of not fully there yet, because you couldn't put very much. You could put unique identifiers on the blockchain for maybe a few bucks per chain or something. And I was like, yeah, but don't you need like all the metadata assigned to whatever platform you're building or whatever? I was building some e-commerce-y kind of thing. And so, yeah, anyway, I just think it's interesting to see how that's
so
evolving.
Cool. Oh, I know. Yeah. I think like that's anyone who's like done any kind of blockchain related thing, they probably touch Pinata. And real quick to address like your, curiosity as far as like, why is it this way or whatever. So honestly, IPFS is kind of the reason the whole reason it exists is because of that blockchain problem. Like you can't store data on chain. Like you can store a pointer, on chain. But the main problem is like if you're doing a server, like just a regular AWS server or something like that, there's basically, you're right, there is no point because you could just change anything, on that server. And so like this pointer you have pointing to an image of, a dog or whatever, you can make it a cat. You can just change it. It'll say dog.
Exactly. That's exactly this NFT stuff, right? It's like a pointer can be unchanging and in the blockchain, but the actual reference to what it's pointing to could change.
So if you, I don't know if you remember this, but the whole reason IPFS exists is because when you upload something to IPFS, that CID, that IPFS hash, is cryptographically determined by the content of the file. And so you can't fake it. Like if you upload an image of a cat and then an image of a dog, they're going to be totally different CIDs. Like you change a file by one pixel.
Right. So I remember
totally different. Yeah.
The only thing that caught me up on that was like, it's not truly distributed if there's not enough participating nodes. So like,
true.
In practice, IPFS was like, okay, that would be cool if lots of people got involved in the storage or the distribution of the data. But like at the time, I was like, it's only really like on my machine running IPFS's network, but it wasn't being shared much with anybody else. So it's like, it's not really distributed. It's just the use of some new technology. Anyway.
Yeah, totally fair.
Super interesting. Yeah. But I like what you guys are doing. I think it's a very cool idea to have this sort of distributed file storage system be more accessible to devs, because it was very easy when I used Pinata. I was like, this is so simple. Like,
nice.
I don't have to know all of the inner workings. I know Default was just joking about wishing he understood more about blockchain, and I totally get it, because
if you want to like go back down that alley, we could do another stream. We can talk about that stuff if you really.
Okay, yeah, sure, that might be fun. I'll reach out to people in my community and see if they want to learn more about blockchain.
Yeah, if they really want to.
I've not become a blockchain guy personally. That's not my shtick.
Totally fair. And that's the thing. It's like it's kind of like a sore thumb for some people, and it's like, if I'm ever introducing myself to other devs, I'm very hesitant.
A little careful to lead with. I'm a blockchain guy. You're like, oh no. That's funny.
Cringe. But yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, cool.
What's up, 911's here. All right. So let's do it. Thank you for the intro. I do think it's cool. I love the little sign in the background. I think Pinata is doing cool stuff. But we're going to nerd out a bit today on terminal colors.
Yes.
I know some people are exploring this in my community, and some of the people here have been exploring it. I've been exploring it. You've been exploring it. So like, where do you want to start? How do you want to sort of enter this conversation?
I can share my screen if you want. I have, if you want to do one big screen. I'm not sure how you want to do that. What works?
We can blow you up, so I can.
Okay.
I can put you front and center.
Cool. So, what's interesting about the whole color thing is like I'm actually really brand new, like within a week, honestly. Like I haven't actually explored this stuff this long. What spurred me to explore it was actually the Pinata stuff. Like, you look at like my aesthetic here, very black, very white, and that's kind of like what I like. It's my preference, but like when I'm doing Pinata stuff, it looks like this, and since I do the developer relation stuff, I make a ton of videos. I make 1 to 2 videos a week. I take screenshots of stuff. I mean, it's a lot. And I really wanted to be able to like switch between the two. And I was like, I bet I could like write a script that like updates the color scheme for Alacrity and Neovim and all this other stuff. And I don't even remember how I got turned on to base16. It might have simply just been like the darker color scheme. I think it was a black metal. And then I stumbled onto it, and like the whole base16 thing is like wild because it's like a mentality. It's like a way of doing things. This concept of like every color scheme you have should just have 16 colors. And that makes it really interesting for how easy it is to switch stuff. So I stumbled upon Tinted Theming, and I definitely recommend check them out. It's just tinted/theming. Their homepage has kind of like their wiki for everything about it, as far as like why they do it, what it's based on. They're like a continuation of Chris Kempson, who's the guy who was the original starter of base16. And Tinted Theming essentially like tried to build a bunch of ports for base16 color schemes and making it really easy to switch. So they have like some official ones, like different editors, terminals, all that stuff, and then they have a bunch of unofficial ones like this. So there's a lot of options. What's I think the most interesting one, the one that I started using and was posting about in the Discord, was Shell. So base16 Shell is really interesting because it you basically download this repo, put it in your config folder, and yeah, I can kind of zoom in here a little bit. Is that better? I want to make sure everybody can see. And basically you put in your config folder, and every color scheme is like a bash script or a fish script. You can basically do it for ZSH or fish. And what's really interesting about what's happening here, I think if we go under scripts, not under scripts, it's it might be hooks. I found it somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find it again. Essentially, the way it handles your terminal, instead of like actually changing the Alacrity config, right, where you normally would have a theme or like a web term or whatever you're doing, it's actually injecting environment variables into your terminal and changing the color scheme there, which is really, really interesting. So there's this shell script thing doesn't even actually have something where it's adjusting Alacrity. It's just straight up changing terminal emulator, stuff. So for instance, if we pull it up here and we make this a little bigger, raycast shortcuts coming in hand, and then let's increase the text here. So I can basically just type base16, and then I can do any color scheme. So I could do Nord, and that's going to change, the whole color scheme. And it's injecting it into the actual environment variable of the terminal. If I open up a new one, I have a default, which is that black metal. But as soon as it actually loads those variables, it's changing this color scheme. So you can kind of see that happening. And so I have black metal set as a default, but, it still kind of overrides. And because of that, there are different, bits and pieces here where the people who put this together, you can add these, scripts inside of Neovim and some other places, and it's basically going to read what your set theme variable is in your terminal, and then base the color scheme of whatever that app is based on that variable. So I think if we actually go into config and go into Tinted Theming, we can look at, if we cat theme name, this is the variable that it's actually storing and changing every time you're running that script. And let me see if we go under, there's one of these here. No, that's not it. I don't want it to actually pull up all the stuff because it's a lot of files. It might be, because that's the directory. It might be base 16 shell theme. Yeah, so this is where I found it. And so you can see here, it's actually taking these different terminal variables and basically just like setting everything for the colors based on what stuff you have. So in theory, it works for pretty much any terminal, which is really wild. And yeah, you could just basically do base16 and then tab through all these different ones. So for instance, I also really like Rose Pine. That's like one of my other favorites. And that just updates it. I think because it's 16 colors, I'm not sure if it's like the official colors of Rose Pine. It might be, or it might be just 1 or 2 colors less than normal. But honestly, I don't really notice any difference. It's pretty cool. And if you go through here on their, docs here, you'll get to see all the different ones that you can download, such as Fuzzy Finder.
Right.
So that's another one you can download. And so it will feed off of that, environment variable as well, which is really cool. Yeah, that's basically it. As far as I've discovered, it's really funny. I was like just loving this and nerding out about it last night, and I showed it to my wife, and she's like, "That's cool, I guess." And I was like, "You don't understand." So I was very excited to come on today because I was like, "There's gonna be some people who understand how awesome this is." Yeah, you can basically just change things. The one thing I haven't figured out, which would be a fun thing to play with, is maybe a way to do Fuzzy Finder and go through the different color things, kind of like how Telescope does it through Neovim,
Right.
So like I do this and do telescope color scheme, right? Oh, I guess this one actually pulls all of it in. I'm not sure what I have. Is there a flag to make it preview? Kind of remember. I'm very minimal Telescope user, unfortunately. I need to get better at it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
I think if I remove myself, you can't hear me.
Oh.
I'm curious. I'm trying to figure this out.
I've been very quiet. I've just been like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this here. Let's try that. You can still hear me?
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay, cool. I think that's
yeah,
it.
I can hear you now.
So I was curious how your NeoFetch. Did you overwrite some NeoFetch stuff to get that output?
I think I did. I think I have an alias for NF.
My default isn't look like that. Or when I run NeoFetch, it looks quite different. There's no icons. The color palette looks different. I was just curious.
I think I found I'll post in the Discord. There's a repo that has like 15 billion NeoFetch themes.
Oh, nice. So you picked a theme, yeah.
I just picked a theme and I just kind of played with it. So let's see, NeoFetch.
Well, since I wasn't I think I muted myself on accident. You have found your people. We like nerding out on this stuff. So I appreciate you coming on and just nerding out with us about who knew terminal, terminal colors was such a silly thing that mine was, if you go to a couple live streams back, I did AI color generators. So I was trying to use AI to like, hey, AI, here's some colors. Give me a full 16 base color scheme based off of the colors I give you. And we were getting really creative toward the end of the stream of like, we like joked about like 50 shades of gray and like it gave us a bunch of grays and it just worked. And like, here's a bunch of gray colors that you can use. And we're like, okay, this is sweet. So we're definitely going to play around with, I'm going to be playing around with this more regarding to how I can use like OpenAI kind of tools to like auto generate colors. And
that would be really cool.
I found a CLI that can read images and spit out hex codes from the images as well. So I can like give it an image and spit it out.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. Kind of similar to this project. If you look at his screenshots, I've seen flavors. He has the like images that match the colors of the wallpaper.
This was one I was looking at because this one actually does have a wallpaper option. It seems to be a bit more complicated to set up, and like there is a 3 episode series on YouTube, but they're all like 30 minutes each. And I'm just like a 90-minute
investment, just to get started.
I can actually dig through because like you basically have to create templates for every single app you have. And there's basically just one config file where you put all of the references to your templates. So like here's like one for Sway. That's Linux window manager. That's another like bar for Linux. And I feel like this makes more sense if you're running Linux, where like you have way more stuff to customize and manage versus like Mac OS. I have like a ThinkPad that I play around with and have Linux on every now and then, and like this definitely kind of makes more sense. But again, it just seems like a lot to put together. And that's kind of was like, I'm just
running a binary is more simple. Like the other tool seems more obvious.
Because this is running. This is in Rust. Like he wrote this thing in Rust. And I'm just like, oof. And that's kind of why I do like the shell thing. Is like it doesn't do as much probably, but it's just so simple. You know,
Sure.
I love the fact that I can do this, and they have everything set up that it works with tmux as well. So hit that T. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
I can just go into whatever opens up tmux and works the same. I think I could still change it while I'm in tmux. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's not. I think it actually. I'd have to restart the terminal session. So if I do,
that would be worth exploring, like that it supports it. Because what I want is my wish in the near future is that I can have color schemes synced with sessions. So when I choose a certain session, it like dynamically changes the colors to match the session. I think that would be super nerdy, but like extremely satisfying. So that's my end goal, but you'd have to probably get tmux to regenerate.
And I may not have it set up properly. That might be the only reason it's working for you. Because check this out. One of the use cases they have is you use this script to have different color schemes appear on different SSH sessions. I was like, that's so funny you brought that up, because that's one of the things.
That's exactly right. And I actually overload I have a separate, I used to SSH a lot. And when I did, I'd have like the tmux tab bar would like be like a bright red or something. And like in the status bar, I would reference the SSH machine's name and give it like a special icon or something. So I'd be like, I am absolutely definitely in the SSH, machine if I'm doing some remote server work. But
I do have it set up.
I like this.
Yeah.
Well, and WesTerm has some basics about coloring, and it works the same way, where you just dump a definition of new hex codes or whatever off of what you want it to be, and WesTerm can just automatically update the colors based off what you give it. But this is a bit of an abstraction of the colors are tied to names, which are tied to files. So you're not like copying and pasting this long string of color values.
Which is nice. I think it's super cool. It was fun to like, I was playing around with it last night and looking at, I think there's one for Macintosh, and it's like there's just so many fun color schemes that I haven't really done a whole lot with. So
nice.
I don't know. Yeah. Black metal, I think it's definitely been my favorite so far. It matches kind of this Arctic theme, and there's several of them. Yeah, that one's like the nicest so far.
That's cool.
Yeah. So very, very cool. Oh yeah, man, I had to restart my computer and it killed all my tmux sessions. I just realized that.
That's what the T session manager's for.
Yeah. Wait. So
kill your sessions and it doesn't matter. You just bring them back up.
Are you talking about T Resurrect, or like the Resurrect one, or the one you?
No, the one I use. I am very quick to kill sessions. I'm incredibly quick to kill sessions.
Is it T-Mux or just Tmux?
Mine is T Smart Session Manager. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is this the one you? Does this save
manager?
Does yours save it too, or are you talking about a different one?
No, I just introduced a new startup script, which is very early, in its development. But you can create a T script in your project. You just have to update the project to the latest version, and then if you put a .t file, executable .t file in any of your projects, it will auto run that file, which is kind of cool.
Right.
But I was thinking for a little while here on stream, maybe I do a little bit.
Switch.
Oh, here we go. There's that. We do a little bit of that. Let's go to my stream. Base16. What is it called? Theming?
Tinted Theming. Yeah, there you go.
And I think the shell one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And is it just literally you just clone it into Do you have to clone it into the configure?
You got the installation right there. You just clone that. You can just copy that whole thing. And
I could, but
Oh, he's a CLI man.
I think I can.
I think you just put it under .config. Something
that
like
works.
Tinted Theming.
Cool. And so they have like specific implementations
for each shell. Yeah, so you basically put that in your config.fish. And
so first fish tip for all of you. I really, really like being able to get to my script. My T session manager jumps directly to my repo that holds my dot files. But what I would recommend is that you create a base16.fish. So every file you put in conf.d will be resolved as a configuration file. And so it's a very smart way of separating it. So see how I have like Fuzzy Finder, I have GitHub Copilot, I have LF, I have OpenAI stuff.
I had that in ZSH and I've been looking for it for fish since I started.
And so this is how it works, is just any .fish file in the conf.d you can put in there. And that's it. That's how it works. So that's fish. And then in Vim.
Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure. I was like, I might have got muted.
I hear you. So the real trick is tmux and Vim. Oh, I see. Maybe this is what you had to do. Maybe you skipped to the previous section.
I thought I had it, but
so this one goes in Lua. So this is a dot in Vim. I'm trying to figure out the best place to put it. Maybe here.
I've had like weird issues with lazy lately, so like I just put it straight into init.nvim or init.lua. I need to really dig into my lazy Vim config.
I'm gonna guess I could put it in options. This is another reasonable place for it to be. And then, yeah, so we'll probably do that. And so here's a fun little tip. This is all staged, or not staged, this is all new files. If I do space G, G is for all my Git commands, Git. I have all these really helpful things I can do, like I can diff it, I can stage it, I can preview a hunk. So if I want to be like, hey, what is this hunk? It can tell me, which is more helpful with like Git diffs. The one I really like is X, where I can reset a hunk. So if I'm like, this code I know I don't want, and I just want to reset the hunk, space GX, boom, it's gone.
What?
So super helpful one that I like.
I take it.
And then we have our hooks. We have to source the file in our tmux. So we'll do .tmux. And I guess we'll source it somewhere down here. FCF. You clone this project to that place. It will automatically pick it up as expected. That's cool. Now we need like a bash16 plugin manager where it downloads everything for you. I'm going to not use this one because we were talking about this in the Discord group, but basically my fuzzy custom, I am using ANSI, which is going to use ASCII colors by default to color my fuzzy. So this blue, this like cyan color, the yellow, the magenta, all of these are based off of the colors from the terminal. So when I change the colors of the terminal, I don't have to change Fuzzy Finder at all. There's no cleverness going on here. So
I think it honestly does like the same thing.
Yeah,
Seriously.
so like they're setting hex codes and then there's applying the hex codes as colors. So they're not using the ASCII colors. Anyway, so maybe I can skip that altogether. We'll see. And then I do have Delta. I don't know if I'm currently using it though. And then I thought there was a transparent option. I need to make sure that that works for me. And then, for the Neovim, options, no. I never can spell capuchin. All right. And then do you have to set the color scheme? Color scheme, base thing. Okay.
No.
So this is where it will get a little weird because Lazy wants the color scheme set. So let's just find out what happens.
That's kind of why I was doing it in init.lua. And what it does is instead of actually like doing a set color scheme vim command inside your Lua config, it's actually running a script in that folder you cloned into your .config directory. It's really interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, something to play with for sure. Something to play with. Yeah, because I really like my transparent terminal. I like the background image and stuff, and so it's like you gotta. I guess this specific solution doesn't talk about it, but let's just run it. Let's just see if it works. So we will kill tmux. We will. This is what I like about T. Like when I use T, I just kill sessions all the time. I don't get worried that I have to rescaffold everything because I work with such few keystrokes to do everything basically. What is this base16 shell? No such file or directory. Tinted Theming.
Oh, so I think you put it under a directory of base16 -shell instead of Tinted Theming, which I think is what everything is looking for.
Is this what they wanted?
Yeah.
Is this what they told me to clone it to? No, see? Ooh.
Oh, no, maybe you're right.
They're discrepancy. No, there's just a discrepancy in the project.
Mine's totally under Tinted Theming. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, no, I have base16 shell too. Here.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it is base16 shell.
Config base16 shell tmux base config. I don't see that file. Unless I'm missing something.
Did you
maybe
do you have to source or
No. I don't see it in the project. There's no .tmux file in the root. So what are they talking about?
You did it a bit differently than I did. For tmux, I used their plugin with TPM.
Oh.
So you can say if you have the base.
Yeah, let's do it. So. I prefer that anyway.
Yeah, so right there.
Yep.
Bam.
It's fine with me. Installed. So now it'll be just a matter of like
base. It'll
overwriting
be
what I want to
dash and then whatever you want to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do I have to put that in my path, basically? That's the idea, huh?
I don't. I'm not too sure. I don't know if I did that. I did the fish install, of course, but that was like the main thing.
So that's what drives it.
Yep. Try doing it outside of tmux, because I'm wondering if I'm having issues with tmux.
Let's kill that. Get my little rainbow bridge back. All right, so base, it's already changed. Cool.
Okay, so it's working. It's just because you have a transparent background, I guess. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Those look the same to me.
Yeah. It's running. It's finding them.
It's doing something. Yeah, it looks different.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it's, which one did you like? You like one of the dark ones?
I did base 16 black metal, 2 words, and then I did dark funeral.
Oh.
And then there you
That's
go.
cool. They don't look that different.
I'm trying to figure out why yours looks the way it does. I'm not sure if it's because it's WesTerm or like I'm not familiar enough with WesTerm. I think I messed with it once, but I don't know if that's how it's.
Let's get my color, 64-bit colors. 64-bit color. I got this guy that outputs all the 256 colors. Interesting.
You can also go to that base-16 shell folder in the config, and they have a script for color test too that they talk about.
It's at the bottom, right? Troubleshooting.
Yes, you can run the base-16 color test, and you can do it for different ones as well.
I see.
Oh, there you go. So that's the color scheme for black metal. Very interesting.
And it's working.
And
this is playing out weird.
I wonder if that might just be NeoFetch.
Sure, they might be calling colors a different way. Let's see, like this one clearly has the colors I want.
Oh, look at that. That just updated. Yeah.
This guy feels similar. Doesn't feel fully.
I think, are you talking about Neovim?
The colors, yeah. I want Neovim to be that black.
Yeah. I think
funeral thing. Yeah.
From the debugging I was doing, what's happening in your Neovim right now is that it's defaulting to Tokyo Night, which is the default for lazy Vim. So something in the config isn't plugging in right.
Yep, which is fine because from what I can tell, cannot find color scheme base 16 black metal dark funeral. So it's not acknowledging those color schemes. It wants to set that theme, but it can't. And the question is why? So my idea was slightly different. I was thinking of applying a custom Capuchin theme and then doing an auto command on the file that gets overwritten so that if it detects that file change, it just reloads the current default color scheme, like just gets overwritten. That's a design pattern I used for my previous project. So in this case, it just doesn't know what that color scheme is. And it thinks tinted theming. So that's it. That's all it is.
I think what's really weird is I have both base16-shell and tinted theming in my config, and they're two separate and different directories. I wonder if it'd be worth trying to try the installation script and just copy and paste it and see if that would do it. Maybe. Yeah, because for some reason I have base16 -shell.
It tells you
as a
to go
directory,
here.
and then I think it's running something else. I don't know, man. That's just my guess.
It already exists.
Oh, yeah. So maybe try deleting the one you made and do it again.
Well, I know what the Neovim problem is. And I believe it worked. Or didn't it didn't error out.
Oh, you know what? It might. Well, yeah. Maybe see if you have tinted theming in your config folder now.
Oh,
Just like
I
that
don't.
config.
Yeah.
Like a.
I don't. Oh, Tinted Theming.
So yeah, check out that directory. It's totally different from the other one, and that's what I have. I think it's doing something with like a symlink or something.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep, base16 shell scripts. Well, then Dark Metal Funeral is being symbolically linked to that, and then set theme is a Lua file that runs this, and then the actual code in my Neovim config is this thing. So it sets the path, and then it sets that, and then it runs a command, a vim command to set this and source it. So this is the path, and that's the file that gets overwritten when you apply a new value.
Yeah.
So that's not that different than what I was just mentioning of like, hey, let's overwrite a file and then have vim detect the change. But it clearly doesn't work. This isn't setting the theme.
I personally think it has something to do with lazy. Yeah, it's not working in Neovim because like the way lazy sources its files and plugins and stuff is really weird. And so like I have like 2 or 3 things that I have just straight up in it. Oh my goodness, Apple doing weird things.
Yeah,
I have like
I know what you mean, init vim, right?
Yeah, just init that Lua and like. Yeah, there you go. Let's just see what happens. It may not work with your setup. Yeah.
Well, and I got my lazy Lua. Not my lazy Lua. Yeah, this does a lot too.
That's where mine's set up. It's in basically this folder or that kind of file. So maybe just move it there and.
And then my cat Puchin. Well, and I can view.
Love Recast AI. It's amazing.
It's just like a question mark command. Do I just literally just say that? Tokyo night. Yep.
Yeah.
So like we were discussing that, it shows up down here. Capuchin, Tokyo night.
Hey, try putting it at the bottom of the folder, maybe. Or the bottom of the file. See if that overrides it, maybe.
I can also, for now, set theme Lua. I could just say, this is the theme. I need to cd Actually, is it going to show up here? So fun fact, my T-script has a find command. So now we can find any file that isn't in Zoxide. We add it, creates a theme, creates an entry, and now it shows up as a Zoxide result.
Nice.
So super, super handy when you get that right. So this is what they called it. So just for fun, this becomes the first entry.
Oh.
And that would be how it works for now. But is it because it can't find it? And if so, that just means that it's a file. I don't think this is going to work exactly the way we think it will.
Probably not. It sounded so simple. It looked... Let me see. If you want, I could show you what my...
Yeah, sure.
My config looks like.
I'll put you up so you're up on display.
Cool. Let me set my screen up here and.
But my Capuchin theme has a very large bank of extensions that it's configured on. So like all of the telescope and like all the different plugins that I might be using, all the basic, like all the most common ones, there's like 50 plus integrations. So they sync up all the colors automatically with those. Yeah. So part of me is like, this plugin's not going to do that. Even if I get it working, you're going to have to individually update each plugin to match what this is expecting. So
I think
something to think about.
Yeah, definitely something about. It's definitely a possibility. I know for me personally, I only really use Telescope and then Neotree. So this is Neotree right here. Yeah. And it just shows my files. And so like it's working at the moment. And this is my current structure. It's really simple. I just have like a Lua folder with configs, plugins, and then my init.lua. And so this is my init.lua, and it's basically where it's requiring the, config. And then I have like a couple of other things that I can never work anywhere else except in this file for some reason. And like even my color scheme. And I think this is the default like lazy Vim starter thing. I had a custom Neovim config that I used for a long time, and then kind of got bored with it and didn't like how I had everything set up, and so I just used the lazy Vim standard and then just kind of customized it from there. But it seriously just this. Like that's all it is. And yeah, it freaking. What other? You said you had other stuff that like depends on it. Is that like so Telescope?
I have all sorts of plugins. I've got like 100 plugins in just on top of Lazy Vim, like above like Lazy Vim, and then I have it's almost 100, but some of them are overriding current plugins Lazy Vim's using, so I can customize it to my style. But let's see. So these are all. I got it working, by the way. I had to just hard code that value somewhere else, but. I don't like this solution. I don't think I would keep this solution because the base 16 theme name always is changing, which is kind of the pain point here. So if you want to see my screen again, I can switch back.
I can switch back.
So like for me, there's this specific file for Lazy Vim that when I had to specifically overwrite Lazy Vim's color scheme value in order for it to load on startup. So these are the colors. This is what we'd expect. But like the gutter's weird, and I don't know how to turn off the background, and there's all these pieces.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving stuff.
And so I kind of lose all the benefits that I had before. So the question now is, the tooling that's offered on base shell, from what I can tell, I was trying to read the tinting theme config code. So this will work. This is the theme, it's a shell file that runs these exports.
Mm-hmm.
But then what is the Lua file color scheme thing? Where is this and how does it know what it is? It's not here.
It is actually. So what it's doing is it's reading from disk your theme name. So when you run base16 black metal,
it reads this, right?
It's reading that file. Yeah.
And then this thing sets the colors on the color name. But like, where do the colors come from? Do they come from the base project?
I think they come from Tinted Theming. That's where the colors are. And I think they might be in there as well, though.
It's the shell script here? Because these define some colors. These look like the colors.
No, I'm wrong. You're you were in the right spot before. It's under the base16 shell folder.
Right. And
all the different scripts. It's all the scripts, yeah. And that's where the colors are actually coming from.
So let's do black metal dark funeral. Oh, it's copying that file.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's totally copying that file. So this is the file. This isn't really that obvious or not perfectly. It's not really perfect how this is working. Anyway, so if we look at Capuchin in Vim, they have custom. Where is it? There's a way you can add your own theme.
Oh yeah, I did this a while back.
Create your own. Yeah. So like
I copied this one actually. I really liked that OLED one, and you do the color overrides. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the idea here is that would be really simple to just override the colors.
Mm-hmm.
By giving it different colors. So that was kind of the approach I was going to make from a Lua side. Right, you just create this Lua table, giving it the colors you want, and it just works. Yep. But what's happening here is you're applying it on a shell level, and then something about the template space, the put template, is setting colors. But there's a gap here that I don't understand where like, how do the colors associate with like, let's talk about like tree sitter. So tree sitter decides on these colors and picks these colors a certain way and picks the certain hex codes from the certain colors that the shell is interpreting. Not the shell, but the actual like Neovim engine is reading colors.
Yeah,
that's the part that is very magical with this script. It's like, this is a shell script, so how is it reading it? But there was a Neovim. There's a Neovim project, isn't there?
There is. So what's really interesting is that there's kind of two. So base16 is just a color, philosophy, and so there is like a Neovim version of it. I think there's one that's outside of Tinted Theming that is Neovim specific and actually has way more likes. Let me send it to you real quick.
Interesting.
Neovim.
You can put it in chat if you want.
Oh.
Did I already have it?
In private. I sent it in the private chat for some reason. It didn't want me.
Yeah, that's fine. Everybody's about to see it.
This one is interesting because it is purely setting it manually. There is no shell thing going on. It's just like a regular plugin that you have access to all the colors, and then you can.
And they have some. This is like what Capuchin's working through, right? It's like you just set up a table with key values. And the key values are assigned to the color scheming, and then they have a little bit of extension work, and they have a handful of pre-built colors. Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, Steve. I don't really care about any of this. Like I don't really plan on using any of these. So I have minor spoilers. I'm sorry if I spoil anything for anyone, but I'm gonna do this. So Spider-Man. I just played Spider-Man. and like, look at this super dope Mysterio portals get put in the game. I'm going to create like a green theme, like everything's green and gray and gold, and make a really cool color scheme based off of this. And that's the idea. That's what I want my project to do. And then
I'll tell you what,
the actual,
man. Let us know when you build it. I want to use it because I love the concept of like wallpaper matching themes. That's
I
really
have
awesome.
Let's go to my GitHub. We talked about this on that previous stream I mentioned, but I have this awe theme. And do I have to go to my own repos? Probably. This is the old project. And preview. I already sort of have this thing in existence. It is a thing. It kind of did it. And it did it through a TypeScript written CLI. But you can see the dating of it because like WandaVision, the Marvel show, came out like 2-3 years ago now. God of War game came out that while, like into the Spider-Verse. So I was like picking topics of things I like. And this originally, this was, my Alacrity work, which a lot of the people that follow me on YouTube see that workflow where it's like, put the terminal on its own desktop and have all your other windows in a different desktop. And then you can come up with this really cool effect. So anyway, this is a really fun project. It exists. The install steps aren't very clear. And last time I tried to reinstall it and use it, it wasn't really working. So I was like, okay, well, I need to rethink this. And now that I'm playing with AI and I do shell scripting now, a lot of shell scripting, I'm like, I'm just going to keep it simple and do shell script. So that's the progress.
I think you have a lot of potential there because if you think about it, it would be way simpler than what I'm using right now because you don't have to have like 256 shell scripts full of different colors. You literally just plug in the colors that you're pulling from AI into one script or something, which is a really cool concept. So I'd love to see it. I want AW to come back.
it's yeah, thanks. It's one of those things that like the way for this to be scalable for me is having a little bit of architecture so that we get the colors or we store the colors in like a JSON object or something standard, and then use the JavaScript. There's a JQ library. I don't know if you've ever used it. But
yeah, formats it right.
jQuery. It processes JSON code. Amazing library. I've used it for lots of things now. It's super smart. This is actually what drives an OpenAI CLI tool that I use. It's like 200 lines, and it's a full implementation of OpenAI's API through just like making network requests and reading the JSON response through the JQ library and then spitting the output out in some reasonable way. So the idea I have in the near future, and I think I'm just going to have to revisit this. Maybe I'll play around with it. I've only been on stream for an hour, but I may go back to my original approach of Fuzzy Finder is set. In fact, I need to probably reverse some of this stuff, but Fuzzy Finder is ASCII based colors, which is great. And then with tmux, my tmux config, all of my colors are set as ASCII colors as well. White, blue, magenta, gray, all these colors that are defined in my tmux styling. I don't use any specific plugins for styling. I just have a few lines of code to define them. And so all of these are just set by the ASCII colors on the terminal. So there's nothing you need to do magical in order to overwrite that. Where it gets a little crazy, let's just talk about it. So with Alacrity, that's what this project did. The way this project worked was very similar to what Vim is doing. So you had this, let's talk about Wes Boss's awesome Cobalt 2 colors. So we love these colors. This is this color structure. And the way that it would work is Alacrity would just source a file, and that file would be overwritten by the CLI tool. So you'd just be dumping in current theme, would just overwrite the current, whatever the current file is would be dumped, and this new values would be given. And Alacrity at the time was smart enough to go, oh, hey, there's a file change, so I'm going to just change the colors. And that's what was going on with that little screenshot thing that I showed you. It was like, okay, it just knows the file changed and it re-renders them. I was looking at WesTerm, and apparently the way that it works here, colors and appearance, is that you could, there's some sort of shell script in their examples. Where is it? Colors, color schemes. Here it is. So maybe I already have this. iTerm color schemes. No. So this guy.
Classic iTerm 2.
We love it. We love an iTerm. Z repos. And so it's pretty cool the way this one works. He's like, hey, you just if you want to run this, it creates this really interesting little process where it like overwrites all the colors for you in order. So he's doing it here. This, from my knowledge, what this does right here is the same thing that Bash is doing. They're dumping the new color values through the terminal on a low level and just saying, hey, overwrite the low level color definitions to new values. And it just, that's what this is doing, basically.
Yeah.
So let's go to find iTerm, color schemes. And so, oh, I think I have to CD into it. No, I am here. Oh, this isn't going to be Bash. Bash.
Ah, yeah.
Bash. I've definitely done this before. I don't know why it's not playing well today. Oh, CD into dynamic colors. All right.
Ah.
Got it.
And then Bash. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well. Well, Josh, I do have to get going.
Yeah, man, this was fun.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on here. It was really cool actually nerding out about this stuff. Like I said, it's not many people out there. So
there's like not a lot of people that uses the terminal full time. And of that group, most of them, I don't feel care too much about color schemes. They pick one and they just live with it forever. And they're like, okay, fine. So this is like
your night, you're good to go. So
a subset of a subset of a subset. But I like doing this stuff. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was great.
All
great
right.
talking. Do it again too.
See you later.
See ya.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's do it. Bye. So a couple people hanging out still. I think we're just going to play around with this. I think I'm going to still try to get this working because this is interesting, and I definitely want to try to add this to my tmux session switcher. So like as you switch sessions, it can dynamically pick a color palette based off of, something you've defined, and then it's able to do something pretty cool. I don't know why this doesn't work well, but in this case, Bash, scheme, tools, echoing scheme. So you give it that value and then you run the screenshot table. So Bash Cyberdyne. Boom. So it definitely works. Zenbones. Very cool. Now what happens if I just run this? What's up, Mark? Mark moved over. It's all good, man. We're all hanging out together. All right, so I'm just gonna try to apply this and see if I can get anything good out of it today. So the main problem was getting Capuchin to play nice. And I could probably write a simple fuzzy script that took any of these entries, and we could, well, let's see, ls1 line at sign. What is this? That what I want? Yeah. Yep. And then preview. We're going to preview something like this. And I think that's all I got to do is something like this. So I'm going to take this guy, put it here. This becomes that. Haha. Oh no, it doesn't like it. No such file or directory. Bummer. Oh, there's the comma there. No, that's the same. Weird. That does not work. All right, so if this is what I wanted to do, keep things simple, we will go to tmux and we will go to that plugin and we'll get rid of that. And I think it's X. Remove, what is it? TPM. Clean plugins. So that's step one. We'll kill this for today. We'll go back to Neovim. No, what is it? Neovim. And here, this is no good. Lazy Lua. Get rid of that. Lazy Vim. Get rid of that. Give it a quit. Give it a reopen, and that looks great. And now the colors have changed. Even if I quit and reopen. So then I just remove. Did these get stored somehow? I'm just trying to reverse what I was doing. So let's see, we don't need the whole project. We need base16 Capuchin. Sweet. So I think for now, I just might remove these projects because I don't love its implementation. We've got our what were these called? Oh, they were in the config. Tinted theming. And what was the other one called? Base16 shell. All right, so that's that. I like in principle what it's wanting to offer. And so I think we may keep that in like the spirit of that in place. What I'm curious about is the iTerm colors. 2 color schemes. What do these offer? Ghosty icon. Let's see, was term. So these are the colors. ANSI and bright. How does iTerm 2 want to set the WesTerm colors? Let's get rid of these. For now, we'll leave that one open. So this iTerm 2 color schemes. That was one way of rendering the colors to see them. Contain shell scripts that change the color scheme immediately on the fly. So I never got this to work, unfortunately. So dynamic colors. So -1. Those are the colors. And we're going to bash this and use tools / now it's working, but it doesn't like the colors. So the real question now is if I try picking that, definitely works. It's all right. Via escape sequences. So I guess that's all he's going to tell us. If you wish to place your color scheme files in some other place, I recommend you place your custom color schemes in this directory. Let's do that. So we'll go to WesTerm and we'll make a dir called colors, right? And if you wish in some other location, do that. And these are the available colors. Oh, and he's moved them? Color types, sync color schemes, color types. Weird, he's moved them or changed them or dropped them or something. I could download the source code, I guess, but see if there's schemes, colors, toml, book.toml, interesting. Yeah, there's gonna be lots of references. Any of these stand out as colors? Color. Color schemes. Saves the color scheme. Save scheme. Oh, interesting. So I guess we'll just try it. I think there's like a way you can trigger the colors to change. We know about that. Maybe it's at the top. Color scheme Batman. So that is what can be changed. He's got a bunch that are already in the project. So maybe we just find a way to list all the color schemes. And then I'm thinking we could start by changing them dynamically was my original idea. The fact that he has 1,000 over 700 means we can start here. And so we can color scheme. Yeah, so see how I've set it here. I wonder if there's a way to read the color schemes. CLI list, color schemes, save scheme. So this saves your color scheme in a TOML file, used when sharing your custom colors with others. Load base16 theme. Oh, interesting. So he's base16 as well. We could probably count these. Or you can do ANSI bright background. Brights, cursor, foreground. This is the kind of path I think I'd like to go. And the main question now is like, can we view those in the source code? Or maybe he's dumping them all in the iTerm3 project, or iTerm3, iTerm2. maybe that he's specifically using this project. Because look at all these. Maybe that's why. And then I can be able to add my own to this once I realize how, at least for this terminal, how to change the color schemes. Each one does it a little bit differently, but I think if I made a CLI and I allowed people to implement the configurations of their choosing, or we like auto detect which terminals are supported, like are already installed on your machine, we could have it control those things. So color scheme, I guess we want to list all of the files from the color scheme, but it's gonna come from source code, I guess. He builds it onto the WESTerm binary. That's my only thought. So instead of listing these files, I'm doing something here where I get wallpaper. I could probably do something similar where I get color scheme. And we will home repos, iTerm, what is this? Iterm 2 color schemes. Dynamic colors? No, we want was term. And so we'll do a little copy of the directory and we'll put that there. And I don't need that part of it. I got ahead of myself. It's okay. I'm not even using this function. Why does it care? Okay. Oh, it still resolved the function? That's interesting. So then this becomes, I could pass config to it, or I could just, yeah, let's try it this way. So here's the glob color schemes. Wait, hold on. Color schemes. Let's do a little incremental rename. Change till that. Color schemes globs. I should have done an incremental rename there as well. So now instead of returning that, we will just return get random entry of color schemes. Pretty cool. I can reuse some code. I don't need this to be function. Is it? Oh, it's an underline. Okay, false alarm. So we're going to get color scheme, and then on our color scheme, we're just going to call get color scheme. And what that should do is get me a different color scheme every time, but I don't think it will. I've just been learning about, oh, this looks awful. Sorry, chat. What's term log info color scheme? So that's color scheme. It gets random. We're gonna, oof, I cannot see very well. All right, we're about to fix this. So we're gonna was term log info. And it's gonna say, attempting to concatenate a table value. And that's what failed. Okay. And we'll just switch back to good old Alacrity for now. So pretty cool. We can just sort of detach from that, exit that, get rid of that. So on get color scheme, from color schemes we glob, from the globs we insert to color schemes, then we get a random entry. Maybe this can't be reused. All the keys. Oh, it's expecting a key value. I'm not giving it a key value. So then I'll just cheat for now. Key equals key. Key equals key. Do match, do insert. No, that's a different one. All right, so on our wallpapers, we have the wallpaper glob. We insert wallpapers. And the pair of each glob entry. Is that what I did wrong? I could probably just move that function closer. Colors game. This is getting random entry from wallpapers. So this is the I pairs. Of V, and then it gets random entry. And get random entry just loops through the table, generating keys, and then doing some math.random to grab the table's value. So why is this not working? Glob. Oh, maybe it's not getting the glob. That's my only thought, is that this is bad. Home. Oh, maybe that slash is needed. What do you guys think? Don't you love programming? Okay, so short story. I had someone in my life that was important to me that took a computer class, and they realized that life can happen like this as a programmer. You literally are missing this, and it's like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know how to fix this. The error messages aren't clear. There's no obvious way for me to know what's wrong. And I feel like people that stick with programming, which, by the way, that person ended up not being a programmer. There was just like one computer class they had to take. I feel like I've always been able to distinguish people that stick to this career long term by their ability to work through this sort of abstract unclearness of code, especially with certain programming languages that aren't type safe. But I digress. But yeah, like this thing not being there is probably why it didn't work. I mean, maybe we'll find out there's another reason why. But I've always found it interesting that people that are able to deal with weird, difficult, abstract problems, I guess that's not going to work, are able to stick with this career. So there's my glob. Let's just like ls that. There's all our toml files. Color schemes. Where is color schemes concatenating? Let's see if this even knows what's up. Cannot differentiate image format. Oh, yeah, I know what that's about. So this is just straight up not working. And it's somewhere after the glob attempt. This guy's like, nope, I don't want to do it. It's just inserting a table from the glob entries. I can't see how these are any different. It's just a different path. I'm dumb. Yep, that was it. So let's see if AI can help us. So I want to grab the Oh, that might do it. Something like that, just some sort of simple expression should do the trick, right? So that'll be V. I don't really like V. I don't know why that gave me V. I'm dumb. Yeah, I know. We put ourselves down. It's in the lighthearted way, right? Right, chat? That's just how it is. You know, it's funny though, like computers are really dumb. Computers don't know anything. Even these large language models, they're just like, they have some sense of the world and they know what they're talking about. But when they're wrong, they have no idea they're wrong. They just think that they're right, which maybe we could say for a lot of people in our lives. But yeah, I have a lot of opinions about computers. And I'm surprised. I think people don't realize how much work it is to make computers do what you want. I used to teach at boot camping. I used to teach at boot camp actually a couple times over my career. And I always liked playing that game of like, teach me how to make a sandwich. And if the instructions weren't explicit every single step of the way, you know, I would like purposefully mess up and they'd be like, put the peanut butter on the bread. And like, you'd stick your hand in the jar and like spread it over the bread because they didn't tell you to grab the knife. Or if they don't tell you to grab the knife, you like hold it upside down and you pull out, you know, peanut butter from the handle side and stuff like that. So it's always funny to think about how far we've come. Okay, so that actually worked. These are good. This is what I want. Although it's now creating dashes. No, it's not. These look fairly right. Attempting to concatenate. Okay, so the concatenation still doesn't work. I don't know why. I should be able to just insert this file name onto how to concatenate strings onto an array. Insert array thing. That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I'm not allowed to do it this way. No, because it's failing on this step. Well, let's just kill this again. So this is saying color schemes is a null value. I'm not worried about those errors. I am worried about this. Attempting to concatenate a table value. Runtime error 42. Oh, is that literally it? Was this just a bad? Maybe that's why. Was that really it? All it was like saying is like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. Possibly. Okay, cool. Cool. Look at that, chat. Let's go. That's awesome. So that's literally what I was going for. So now I should be able to add my own. What do? We do. I have it set to something. It worked. Damn, too bad Steve left. Steve would celebrate with us. So these are the colors, and I'm planning on adding colors of my own to the project. And for now, they're random. But in the near future, what I'll be able to do is I'll say, hey, I want to pass maybe a specific name And when I pass a specific name, I want you to use that color scheme instead. That's kind of the idea here. So the question now is, let's go to the project. Let's go to issues. No, let's go to discussions. Check this out. So let's look at author me. I have definitely brought up some things. Is this an issue? Author me. No, it was a discussion. All right, so now where did that discussion go? Posts. Okay, here it is. Nope, this isn't it. Oh, he referenced me. How nice is that? We were just talking about this on Discord today. All right, so ideas. Update active window with CLI. Why did it not show up? I'm the author. Oh well, we're here now. So he said that we can use variables to pass data and trigger events. So that's what I want to do next. So if you have some Lua that cooperates with the application you're building. So this is our passing data concept, and this is our overriding configs. So one thing we can do is pass data through variables. So we'll spend a little time looking at that. And then the second one, which is more obvious, is this thing where it's like, hey, when thing changes, do other things. So we'll have to figure out what's term on toggle ligature. So I want, which events can I have? Each call to set configure overrides will emit a window config reloaded event. If you call this method from inside the handler, you can actually override values that have changed to avoid a loop. For example, use this to shift the ligatures. So on toggle ligatures, do this. Yep, that makes sense. On toggle opacity, do this. Great. So see, set config overwrites. That's the idea. So he's saying we can pass that data through this. So just after you spawn a program into a pane, the emulator has no guaranteed reliable way to reason about what might be happening inside the pane. Only official system provided means of interaction is through the PYT interface. Okay. So you can use an escape sequence to set a key value pair in the terminal pane. These user variables are similar to in ways environmental variables are, but scoped to the terminal pane and cannot be read by applications running in the pane, only written. Sweet. So we can print user variable. Note the value must be base64 encoded. So that's fine. We're just going to right now start with like a string value, basically. Like, hey, if I give you a string value, can you please update on WesTerm? Setting the variable will generate events. Yeah, so here's what it is. That's exactly what he was telling us about. On user var changed, looking at the variable and passing in the name, we get a new value. So this is specific to WesTerm, but honestly, it will be easier with other tools like Alacrity, and I think Kitty's also a little bit easier. Oh boy, what is happening? So we'll kill that. Let's just start with this. So the color scheme thing works great. Love it. So on use var change, we want to listen to the var. And if we set this, so let's just rerun that and let's just run this. And base64 is an unknown command. Can I brew search base64? Sweet. Get our base64 encoder binary installed. And if we, oh, no, I already did that. Let's keep going back. And let's print that. Okay, so his example's too vague. A little too vague. Is foo the value? And we're doing some simple substitutions on the printf's command, and we're echoing bar. Foo becomes bar. Yeah, so we're just doing some basic substitution here. Yeah. So why doesn't this work? Aim foo and value bar. Yeah, no, I know. Oh yeah, it's definitely, I think it's going to be complaining some on this. I don't get though. Why doesn't this work? Dash. Oh, maybe it's, I bet it's because exits. All right, so I'm gonna guess it's because I don't think I can use double quotes. So now we should see foobar. Foobar. Hell yeah. Let's go. So we'll get that a little bit of a size increase. We will be glad that it's working. And let's write a script. All right, so I probably will just start with fuzzy. So we're gonna say, instead of foo and instead of bar, we're just gonna pass the variable, and when the variable changes, we're gonna overwrite the config. So that becomes user var changed, user var change, set override. So the override becomes getting the config overrides, setting them with overrides dot value. Is wet window coming from somewhere, or is window just something that always exists? Yeah, okay. All right, that's it. That's literally all we'll do. So it'll be, I don't know, scheme. So we're not gonna have name and value. And is var, oh, var just comes in whenever. Var is just, okay, so when we assign the value that's being passed, so this guy here, set user var thing, other thing. So anytime we ever pass this, it will just always read it. So we're going to override the color scheme, and the color scheme is going to be, do they do config dot anything, or they just pass it? Overrides dot get config overrides, or I guess that's fine. So So that just becomes like this. Where's my... So we're just going to call these overrides, and then their overrides are override.thing equals other things. So let's just get back to the right screen, and let's just, I'm not using my default terminal. So it's going to be overrides, and we're basically just going to say does it matter? I guess it does matter if I get the right value. It's going to be one of those things like if that name, then do that value. So if string match, so string match. So if name equals scheme, then scheme, it'll be overwrite color scheme. I think I might just set this to be that, just so that it's consistent. Overwrite overrides. Hey, default, it's going well, man. I'm about to get programmatic fuzzy pop-up color switching working in WesTerm. I'm excited. So we're going to equal this to the value that we pass it. And I guess we'll leave this here and we'll only log it. And then how do I end? End. I'm starting to get good at Lua, actually. I don't always remember everything, but I'm off to a decent start. I don't really care about the pane. Can I do this underscore? Yeah. So we're going to say if color scheme comes through, color scheme var changed. We're going to get that name. We're going to use it. We're going to set the value. We're going to set it over. We're going to overwrite the value. So now it's one of those things where we'll reload this. Dude, it's going to be so rad. And I'm going to match this up with wallpapers. So wallpapers plus color scheme equals output, desired output, right? This is our magic right here. So instead of printf, we're going to color scheme echo that value in base64 encode it. So this would be like cat puchin. I don't know if this is going to work. No. Maybe I'll restart this. It doesn't like that. So what does it not like about it? We got to make sure we get the variable just right. And that's, maybe I'll put these next to each other. It didn't trigger. Okay, why didn't it trigger? We've had this working before. Color scheme. Okay, chat, we just had the hook working. So now I got to figure out why is the hook not working? Oh, funny. Not enough texture space. Exceeded maximum dimensions. Oh, what the heck? Is this just what this is foobar. Very odd that it wouldn't be working. Is it causing that to fail? I don't really care about the background color. Maybe or the background image, maybe I'll disable that temporarily. Excuse me, background. I don't care. Yeah, I know it's gonna look a little bit funny, but I just want to get my triggers working. Foo and bar should be triggering, and they're not. What did we change? We did change this. Pane. If, then, end. I don't need an else, do I? Near else 250? Oh. Weird. Shouldn't matter. Oh, that R might be bad. Config color scheme. Oh, so this is one of those things that I do need to keep on for now. It's fine. Let's just kill this. There's our colors. If I print color scheme, I should see color scheme. If I print foo, I should see foo. Okay, so now that's what's not working anymore. Weird. Why would this stop working? Why would we have any issues from before? Capuchin all the things. Yeah, we're gonna not be using capuchins every single time anymore. But my hook stopped working. That's so frustrating. I haven't really changed much. Very weird. It's so weird to me that it just decided to stop working. Well, we'll keep this down here. I don't want to have to keep switching. And then when I trigger a change, it's supposed to show up on change, run function. User var base64 encoded value. Could it be the image formatting failure? Possibly. I know I've been having a few issues with it not playing nice with my images, so I may be a little bit too aggressive, I guess. Nothing. Anything? Nothing. Nothing. Dang, chat. What happened? Why did this all of a sudden stop working when it was working earlier? That I don't understand. So we got our entries, we got our configs, we got our appearance logic. We have our new switcher plugin, which I've been playing with, but I'm just going to disable that since I'm not using it. And what's supposed to happen is when I print a new value, it's supposed to trigger scheme cat Puchin. I don't understand. I don't know. I guess we can kill this and start it up on its own. And Capuchin. It's going to definitely not play nice in certain situations here. That's funny. I don't know. Do we need to switch back to this project? Fuzzy. Now I'm confused. So I can change colors. I can give it whatever colors I want, and it works. And just a few minutes ago, we had this code working. On WesTerm, we had user variable changed overwriting. Can I like send it here? Well, we probably need to launch WesTerm. If I send it there, no, I wouldn't expect it to work. Was it only in Bash? Nope. Just doesn't work anymore. Foobar. Log info. WesTerm info. I've done everything exactly the same. We haven't changed anything. Do I just go back to where it was earlier before this stuff was changed? I don't know. I don't know how else to get this to work other than going back. The fun of undo, right? This is what we had before. And literally, we ran that and we got output. We got foobar. I don't mind the error format. All right, now I'm stumped. Do we just try a different terminal emulator for the time being? Because I want to play around with this idea, but why would this stop working? This is literally the same. This is exactly what we did earlier. And now it doesn't work. Set user var, foo echo bar with the base64 encoded value. Oop. Well, I'm kind of stumped. If this is just straight up not going to work anymore, then there's nothing I can do. Name equals color scheme, then overwrites, then overwrites color scheme equals value, and set overwrites. Oh, that's not right. Overrides. I mean, I don't know what else there is to do if this just doesn't work anymore. So this is color scheme. And then on this project, alien blood, I like it. Yep, doesn't do anything. Bash. Does it have to be in a tmux script? Because we didn't try that. I don't know if that's alien blood. Breeze. Breeze is nice. Nothing. Nothing, chat. This stopped working. Any suggestions? Anyone? I know there's a few of us hanging out, watching. Do you guys have any suggestions? Because I don't know why set user var was working 10 minutes ago and just sends us absolutely nothing now. The position of it, I've moved back to its original position. I guess the backticks only worked in bash. Could it have been that? I don't know what those backticks do, to be honest. So if we go back to the project and we foobar it, oh, let's just go back here and let's run WesTerm again, and let's bash it, and let's run it with the ticks. What are these backticks? Is this some evaluation on bash that I'm unaware of? All right, default. Well, we got a signal again, bro, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. So something about the backticks. What does do in bash? Use for command substitution. Fine. So do I have to do command substitution a different way? Yeah. Come on, Wes. You're killing me here, bro. All right, so that was it, chat. It's command substitution. Fine. I know how to command substitute in fish. That's fine. So there we go. Foobar. If color scheme, overwrite the color scheme value. So the way that we would do this, I think I've got too much going on here. Let's detach. Let's close that and that. Let's go ahead and kill that. All right. So here's how it's going to go. we are going to, well, that's fun. Look at that. That's probably the blood one. We are going to print. Oh, now I'm having issues getting input working. Here we go. All right, so this becomes color scheme. This becomes alien blood, and this is command substitution. Okay, chat, we all learned today what backticks do in Bash. I'll probably never forget that now after this moment. So that's fun. All right, so we're gonna, yay, that's fun. We did it. Are we happy? I think we're happy. Let's do what we were doing earlier. What's interesting is I need to play around with this. If I have two different terminals, tmux, let's see, we should be able to tmux a. All right, here we go. We're gonna go here. We had this really cool little fuzzy finder command that we were using. And I think I lost it. Was it still here? Yeah. So we were getting this to work earlier, right? No, it didn't read the file. So now, instead of that being the preview, we are going to change it to our fancy little print. And we'll do a basic substitution there. And we're going to say bar is the value. And I'm going to say color scheme. But this isn't going to play completely nice because we're going to echo by getting rid of that. We're going to close that with that. And I think the value's going to not play nice because I need to strip. Okay, so I need to do an ls command, removing the files extension. So we're just gonna do a basic sed. Not a sed, yeah, a sed. Sed should be fine. And this becomes this. Oh. Oh. Preview, print, color scheme, echo, base thing, do other thing. Please work. I guess the question now is, do we get a new log when we trigger this? And the answer is no. So then we just take the selection and we pass the set user var interpreter, take the option. All right, so then we'll just skip to the next part because I don't know if I'm going to get it working perfectly in a fish prompt. Oh, Mark, it's all good, man. We're just hanging out. We're having a good time. I think I'm really close, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a little script for this. We'll just call it like colors, C for colors. No, I had a CO for colors. We'll just do Wes colors. Does that feel good? Little bash in the front. We'll do a little ls there. So we're going to cd into repos, iterm, to color schemes, was term. And then we're going to ls those files and do fuzzy. And then on fuzzy, we're going to tmux. And then we'll do a little little magic here. We're going to store this as scheme. And the question I'm going to have, and we will do a little bash. And then when we choose it, we're going to print. So color scheme and then scheme. And that's the idea. So now we need this to be executable. Oh, we need to go back to bin. Executable are was colors, and then was color afterglow. Okay, so that's not triggering. Bash print. I think we need to print this. I need to print this. This guy is an indirect subprocess on the shell, and so because it's a subprocess, maybe WesTerm doesn't like that. I don't know if WesTerm is going to like honor that as a, what are we calling this, a hook from your shell. So see how it's saying from your shell? I'm going to guess maybe there's a reason why. If it's done outside of my shell, WesTerm won't listen to it and won't know about it and can't capture the window. That's one thought. That's one thought of this. You can't reproduce it this way, but we'll see. Let's just do like 50. No, it's going to be like 20% and 20%. So we'll give that a, I don't know, like Argonaut. Versus, let's just go ahead and plan on this being echo scheme. Interesting name. Oh, I just lost it. My bad. Echo alien blood. Now it doesn't want to play nice, even though we just had it working earlier. Or maybe that is alien blood. Arth Adventure Time. Okay, so it totally works outside here, but it doesn't work when I put it behind a shell script. Now, it doesn't matter. That's this guy. Yeah, it's kind of Wondering what's going on now. WC triggers. Isn't that funny? It triggers it in my tmux session. Perhaps there being two terminals open. I don't know if that would be a reason why it would complain. Did that actually work? Solarized Darkula? Are these changing? Tango, iTerm Tango Dark. Yeah, these are changing. Okay, sweet. That's cool. So look at that, chat. It's working. It's totally working. Now I could make it. I wonder if it's because of it. I was in tmux maybe that it doesn't play nice. Let's exit that. Let's do a good old neofetch and a WC and so there's a chance that there's a chance that tmux doesn't honor this change. And there may be something that we could learn from the base16 shell project that was working with tmux. So these guys do this project, and this project does what? Runs a shell script? Oh, but they have their own set of colors that are set in the configuration. So now we just can decide if well, let's just go ahead and invim config bin wc, and let's just say that this guy is also going to become the preview, and this preview I guess I need another terminal open. Man, fuzzy preview, wrap it in quotes. Okay. That's the command. Scheme doesn't exist yet. It needs to be here. Expected end of file. Do I have duplicate here? I bet I do. All right. I don't know if I can eval inside of a script. That's the fun part, isn't it? So this gets ran, but can it evaluate itself? The real question is, can I abstract this into its own thing? Set was term color scheme. And I'll just put $1 here. I mean, I don't see why this couldn't work. And we'll exit. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. C bin X was term color scheme setter. Is that enough? And then Neovim WC, and then this just becomes was term color scheme, and this becomes the same thing. I don't technically need to set that if it's in the preview. Line 3 and 6. Okay, line 3. There's no line 6. Preview. Oh, this needs to. I'm dumb. Chat. There's another moment, Mark. I needed to close the parenthesis on the scheme evaluation. Let's just see if that plays nice. So I can't run set Wes-term color scheme. That's what it's called. Set Wes-term color scheme. I guess I can just quickly do this and evaluate it there. Yeah, so it's triggering it, but it's not changing the value. Calamity. So it does change it, but it doesn't change it on fuzzy as it's running. I'm fine with not having live preview. It's not a big deal, especially since in a lot of cases I'm not really going to be previewing it. So I think for now we would be fine if we didn't have to preview it. We definitely want to set the color scheme. Chalkboard. So all these things work. It's playing nice. That's definitely a small win for now. I'm getting a hang of sending values via a Wes-term hook, basically. So in Wes-term, I can send it a value. And when it chooses that value, it updates my colors. Good old Nord, classic. So now the next piece of it will be, it doesn't work in tmux. Can I spend a little time? I'm probably gonna end chat here soon. This was interesting to explore today. Can we in Vim? Can we set this up inside tmux? So from what we can see, tbin, wc, and then neo fetch, and then if we run wc and we choose like blue matrix, we would expect the colors to change, and they don't, but when we exit, they also don't change. Okay, so inside of tmux, they don't work. So there may be a very high chance that this pattern doesn't work in tmux. I mean, there's just a very, very likely chance that this is not being understood by Wes-term. That's my guess anyway. That Wes-term is like, you're in tmux. This isn't the active window. I don't actually see it. So this may become very much a problem from the shell. Yeah. So if we do what we were doing earlier and we like open alacrity and we give this a kill and we Wes-term log and we run the print, This is going to run. This is going to give me my foobar value. And if I tmux new and I run exactly the same command, I will not see it. So there's no second entry. So has anyone come up with this? I may have to use a different shell. Just looking at this code, it seems like this may be our limitation here, which makes me sad because I really like WSTerm. I think it's really got some cool features. So this is an open issue for control mode. Terminal emulators to issue commands and react on events happening in the tmux server through the terminal input-output streams. So this is it, chat. I mean, this is what would need to be done in order for this to work. So the basics you can attach using the -cc, queries and parse session events panes. Deal with the title sequence. Got it. All right. So this is just a limitation on the system that we can't surpass right now because this has not been closed. Yeah, and I bet it's a lot of work. So this is where it gets kind of crazy, right? Life gets kind of crazy, and there's all these features that would be really cool, but I bet it is a bunch of work. He's welcoming contributions, and if I can remember right, what is WSTerm written in? I think it might be Rust. Yeah, it's a Rust application, so I'd have to learn Rust. I'm not a Rust developer. Changing colors. So Kitty has a similar feature built in, and he has built in, I mean, this is like a tool that's part of the project, so there's no like changing here. So let's quit, clear, neo fetch, TA. So the real question is, does the kitty themes, kitten themes? Interesting. So let's try this. Totally works. Afterglow. Well, let's pick one. Oh, interesting. Enter doesn't work. I'm wondering if I'm going to end up back where I started with Alacrity in order to even get close to getting this thing working. Or maybe it's, you know, some big dream of mine that is just not well supported by these tools yet. Yeah. So tmux is its own subprocess, right? Tmux is a server that runs and you attach to it and you communicate it with it directly. So the idea that we're going to like work with it in isolation separately and communicate with it somehow is the problem. I mean, that's ultimately the problem, is like it's not the active terminal. It's something you're attaching to, and it's a separate process. So there's two things that I could do. And the most obvious one is I could just add that random color generator thing back. Or I could find a way to come up with a shortcut that lets me change the colors some other way. I don't know if I'd have to like detach how to send command to terminal outside tmux while in tmux. I don't know if it's going to have any idea. Target terminal, sure, but target terminal, these are all inside tmux. Yeah, so we've talked about this. I don't remember who it was in the group that's been, someone in the community has been playing with this a little bit more than I have. But how do I send a command terminal outside tmux? Exodo? What is this? Does this exist? Xdo tool? For X. What the heck is X? Let's go to the project page. Interesting. I mean, in my mind, oh boy. I bet I could do this. So I've been playing around with this guy's, oh, I disabled it, right? Was term. So this new plugin probably is my way in. Oh, I did Alt-I. Alt-I? Oh, I'm not in WesTerm anymore. So this is the plugin that I saw that he lets you filter like stable diffusion web UI. And when I do that, we can switch between projects, WesTerm. This works just like my other project, and he actually copied it. He not copied, but like he gave me credit for it, but he used the same principles, but uses WesTerm. So maybe this is a full circle. My day is coming back around. I played with this in the morning. Basically what is it? Title? Tab? I don't remember. One of these options was my decorator. Yeah, so this is the WesTerm project. See the little title up here, WesTerm. And if I do a little switcher, I can do like let's go to like my website, and we switch to my website, and we switch again, and we have like this Cedar project. And so the way that this works is it now creates these sessions under the project name, and you can switch between them, which is pretty dope. And if you close one, you can close this, you can see it opens up a different project. If you close that, it opens up a different project. Close that, and that's the last one, right? Close that, yeah. And so maybe I can apply the principles of it all to this project. Because let's see, if I'm actually in WesTerm and I trigger tmux and then I hit the keyboard shortcut. Okay, so it doesn't play nice because I'm in tmux. So it's, I guess, the same. but I've been pretty inconsistent with this plugin. I don't know why the key bindings don't always work, but they don't. So I've been sort of frustrated with this setup. I don't really like this wasn't consistent for me. I don't know why. So there's a bit of unreliability for me right now, and just works so like tmux works so well. Tmux is just so great at what it does that I'm like really finding it hard to want to go somewhere else. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll have to rethink if I even want to mess with this. Oh, 227. All right, what happened to 227? $227. Oh. Something got screwed up with my config. I don't care about this. Why is this lost? Okay. Well, I guess for now I'm gonna probably stick to the random generator and let it randomly pick colors and wallpapers. And then the next iteration of this project is, yeah, so Mark was asking, yeah, that was Wes-Term's session manager project. I think for now, I'll probably come up with this idea of like creating color schemes that match wallpapers. And then instead of doing two different random get color schemes and get wallpapers, I will group them and I'll have like get random combo. And when it fetches those values, it will get a color scheme string that matches a TOML file, and then it will match a wallpaper from one of the files in my project. And when it does those things together, it will set both and will apply the color, the image that matches the colors together randomly through this. And what I've done in the past and what I'll continue to do is Command R reloads. So if we literally just quit that and we open up Wes-Term, we go back to Wes-Term, I've got some sort of we got our globber, we got our insert, we got our color setter, we got our var change. We got this weird, I've been having issues. Okay, there we go. So I'll be playing around with this a lot more, but basically my dark mode stuff needs to be made better. So this was like 95. And it's been a little bit unreliable, so I'll have to play around with that. This has been fun. I don't know if you guys saw this chat, but there's all sorts of cool things you can do. You can stack images, which is pretty fun. But anyway, what I was trying to get to earlier is if we go to my active wallpapers, we'll see there's one. And the way that I've built it right now is I can put different files in the active folder. So I just sort of day by day will move things to where I like them. So like, these are really cool. I like these. Got my cool little car. And so now it picks at random a wallpaper. So there's the car, there's the bridge, there's the forest, and it just kind of goes between them. So now kind of, I guess the next step forward will be combining the two random ones. They're different random ones. We can see up here the colors changing. The colors are changing up here. They're not changing inside the project yet. So maybe I can write some Lua code that dumps colors that match into the capuchin color scheme. That's kind of the next piece here. And I'm going to sort of talk this out, and then I'm going to end the stream here tonight in a few minutes. But you can create your own, and all you have to do is add some overriding colors. So here are color overwrites, and that is a file that can be, I could inject those values. I don't have to, they don't need to be hard coded because it's also Lua. I can just pass in a table. And so that's kind of our first step toward what we're going for, where we have things that line up. Neovim changes, and the terminal colors change, and fuzzy changes, and tmux changes, and like all these pieces change. And I feel like parts of it are working really well, and other parts of it are a bit disconjointed, and I can't set them until I programmatically add some more integration. I think in general, though, that each terminal emulator is going to be a little bit different. That's just my opinion of it so far. So I think I'll probably come up with some simple WesTerm solution. Maybe I'll make a plugin for it or something, and it'll be a plugin for WesTerm users, and WesTerm users can like use it if they want. That's the thought. It's like, you're a WesTerm user, install this plugin, use it if you want, add your own color schemes if you want. Maybe in the future, for people that are like using WesTerm session tooling and all of that directly, maybe there's like an auto select fuzzy matcher if people wanted that sort of thing. I think that would be fairly trivial to implement. And this, at least for now, this would be like really specific to Capuchin. But because of the integration and how many things that they connect with and do really well, I kind of want to stick with that project for now, because I really didn't like the base 16 shells way of doing it. It was very weird and complicated and very unclear. So I'm at least hoping that if I come up with this slightly different solution, that it can feel a bit more obvious. And perhaps Alacrity and other terminal shells can be more obvious in the way in which we implement it. Maybe even one day I have to go back to this single, I would think maybe even here, if I'm using Stage Manager, it's giving me a window that is on its own, and the windows live on the side. So I think this idea of like the background image coming back might not be such a big deal. I really liked the sort of the images part of the emulator. I thought that was really helpful and clever in my recent workflow, but you know, workflows change. So there's a chance that that changes with it. And I think all of the cool colors that we got here, let's go back to our colors, iTerm 2, color schemes. I think all these colors, we could just write a really simple script that takes all the colors from TOML and converts them to a Lua table and stores them maybe directly next to this file, I don't know, or an adjacent folder for a different project. And the fun part will be matching up images with color schemes. I think that will be where this becomes really fun and interesting, when those things sync up perfectly. And of course, other people have done similar projects, so it could be worth my time and energy to spend a little bit more time in those projects. I don't care for this one so far, so that's my only reason for not leaning into it really hard. I just thought it was a bit odd how they implemented some of the pieces here, especially since I've gotten ASCII mostly figured out on my workflow. I really just need to apply it to Neovim. And that should be a simple overwrite a Lua file and tell Neovim to listen for that Lua file to change. That's kind of the idea. I think a simple auto command or something might be enough. So I think that's it today. Thank you guys. This was really fun. We just shy of 3 hours. So thanks for hanging out for those that were here the whole time. And I'll be on the Discord server. So if you want to say hi, let's just keep chatting about this stuff. And I'll see you guys next weekend. Bye.